Breaking news, guys.
What?
Breyer's retiring. See that?
Whoa.
It just happened while you guys were talking.
Who do you think they're going to put on the court?
Anybody.
Okay, so this week, results of a super interesting study came out. And to just TLDR it, giving cash to low-income mothers actually increased brain activity in their babies. Wow. So, Alyssa, what do you make of this study?
Now, to be fair, it's a preliminary study, right? And but mostly, I mean, I think there are so many reasons why giving low-income mothers an extra $300 a month could produce children with higher cognitive function, which is that maybe the moms can spend more time with them, maybe they can afford better food, maybe they can afford better health care. All of these things seem like good reasons to consider such a program, or in the case of America, just extending a program that was doing a lot of good up until a month ago.
Right. So this study, which was done by the National Academy of Sciences, took two groups of low-income women, and half of them they randomly gave $20 a month to, and the other half they gave $333 a month to, which is about as much as the child tax credit was for people with kids under 5. And yeah, the results of it were basically that just giving low-income parents cash led to better outcomes for their kids. It's sort of, if this actually holds up, it's kind of indefensible to not extend the child tax credit program.
100%. And it'll be really interesting because I think they're following all of these kids until they're 4 years old to see how they continue to improve or don't, but most likely continue to improve. So I'm glad that they did this study.
Yeah, I think so too. And it really brings something interesting up. Like direct cash payments to low-income people is something that is like the pushback on giving cash payments to people makes really gross assumptions about what type of character low-income people have. Like, you know, there's a sort of assumption that like you give a poor person money, they're going to spend it on something like
nefarious.
Lobster or whatever.
Right.
But the thing is, like, you know, when we had Representative Rosa DeLauro on here to talk about the child tax credit, she mentioned that research has found that people spend the money on their kids. Like, you give them money, they will spend it on their kids.
Right. And I think a very easy corollary to this is that over the course of the time when people were getting the child tax credit, 3.8 million children, it is estimated, were lifted out of poverty.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, this seems a bit like a no-brainer, Erin.
I mean, if you're a pro-family, pro-life party, it seems like something that you would want to do.
Also, just kind of worth mentioning that Hysteria non-fave, Joe Manchin, who opposed the child tax credit, according to the IRS, 305,000 West Virginia children benefited from the expanded tax credit.
What did he get? Okay, like this is going to be a Manchin tangent, a mangent, if you will.
A mangent!
Ugh, I just cannot, flames on the side of my face, you know, etc. What does he gain from keeping poor women? He lives on a fucking boat. Like what is there to gain? He already has all the stuff. Does he need all the stuff times 2? He doesn't need it. I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's like, look, I guess, you know what? If there wasn't data that supported it and said that 3.8 million kids had been lifted out of poverty, I mean, maybe you could say if you wanted to make the argument, well, we don't even know what it did, but we do know what it did. That's the thing, we do know what it did, and we know that he comes from one of the poorer states in the country, and that there's no possible way where his constituents would not benefit from this plan.
Again, I'm going to reiterate that I think Virginia should invade West Virginia. I think that they should just add it.
And keep sending us comments, everybody, because we love when we say this and you explain to us how they have.
Our listeners are, and I say this with utmost respect, complete fucking nerds. Amazing nerds.
The
and
best.
Love them.
And nice nerds. They're nice nerds too.
Amazing.
Because when they give us the information, they're not like, hey, don't know if you heard this or not. It's more like, hey, here's some more information for another show.
Right. Like they would tell you that over drinks and you would be delighted to hear it. You'd
Totally.
be like, yes, this is a great fact.
You
please.
side by side Google more information.
Exactly. Love a side-by-side Google. That's how you know that a friendship is like going to take. If you have like a new friendship and you're hanging out and you're like side-by-side Googling, like that's a sign.
Absolutely. Who can get the information faster?
Exactly. And then you're happy when the other person can because you just want the information.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So another, I guess, more fuckery, speaking of
This
no
one was
mansion.
very confusing. I mean, just
Okay.
go.
I think I can probably spell it out for you because the headline is exactly true. Judge tries to deny teen abortion over her GPA. So basically, there was a 17-year-old girl in Florida, Jane Doe, who sought to have a judicial bypass to have an abortion without the involvement of her parents. Because in Florida, if you're a minor and you're pregnant and you want to have an abortion, you need your parents' permission. You don't need your parents' permission to become a mother. You need your parents' permission to become unpregnant. But anyway, so that's judicial bypass. But in order to do that, you have to go to a judge and you have to ask, like, you have to get the judge's approval. And the whole system is basically set up to, like, it makes literally no sense. It forces teens to prove that they are competent enough to have an abortion without their parents' involvement.
That's what was a tough one for me because when you texted me the article and I just read the headline, I kind of quizzed myself. I was like, what could her GPA have been for anyone to decide? Was it too high? Like, you should have known better? Was it
Right.
too low? Like, you should be punished and therefore you should follow through with this pregnancy? But
Yeah.
Erin, you actually had interviewed someone previously who had to go through this. And it was a crazy process.
So I didn't interview them, but the person who wrote the Jezebel article interviewed somebody who had gone through the process in Texas because this exists in several states. I wish I knew off the top of my head all of them, but the usual suspects: Florida, Texas, like where the bitches cannot govern, they take it. They take it out on women and otherwise marginalized people. That is just the oldest trick in the book. So in Texas, a minor who wanted to have an abortion had to basically memorize the entire medical procedure and be able to explain it to the judge. Like it's like she got quizzed on what an abortion was. It's so patronizing and so insulting.
Could you imagine any other medical procedure, which is all this is, having to go in and explain the procedure in order to get it?
I mean, could you imagine any of these chuckle fucks, like the judge in Florida who tried to block this girl from having an abortion, Jared E. Smith? Can you imagine him describing, let me just, the female anatomy. Let me give you a blank chart of a vagina, a vulva, a uterus, like
Those fallopian tubes?
Label it. And like, how big, I want to quiz this judge. How big is a uterus without anything in it? How big is it? If you don't say the size of a lime, you don't get to, like, you have to know shit.
Is
Like,
it?
these
I was
people-
going to say the size of a fist.
Oh, that's your heart. Your heart's a fist.
Oh, that's what it is. Sorry. See,
Your heart
I
is-
would have failed.
Your heart's a fist. Your uterus is a lime because think of it like it adds a little bit of zest to your life,
It does indeed.
one way or another. So yeah, judicial bypass is a thing in several states. It has been upheld by the Supreme Court in Planned Parenthood versus Casey. And it's something that's probably going to, continue because this court isn't going to overturn it, which is ridiculous. Yeah, this girl had testified that she had a B average and actually her GPA was slightly lower than a B average. And the judge was like, okay, that's it. You're not good enough at school to have an abortion. Like, ugh. I mean, is parenthood punishment to these people?
It sounds like it. They're like, you know what? You didn't go to gym class enough. It brought down your average. And now you're going to have a baby. So see how you like that. See if it teaches you a lesson to what? Go to gym class? I mean, it's fucking nuts.
It's like, first of all, how much do these people hate their kids that they think parenthood is like a terrible
Totally. I thought
punishment?
the same thing. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They was-
Here's the thing, like childbirth. I went through it. I didn't have drugs for about 15, 16 hours. And then I screamed for an epidural. Worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And forcing anybody to go through that is absurd. And adoption is not an alternative for a person going through
when
that.
they're in high school.
Especially when they're in high school. Like, my God, I at least was like, oh, I've taken yoga, so I can do breathing exercises to try to get through it. I'm a teenager. Oh my God. Anyway, Florida is continues to be whack, although there are some bright spot politicians in that state that we hope can nose it out of its nosedive. But I don't know. That's TBD.
Don't know.
That's TBD. Okay, one more story I wanted to get to today. It's a fuck that guy in our episode notes, but I don't know if it's like a totally fuck that guy because I kind of wanted to discuss it with you.
Let's discuss it because I agree. There's a smidge of nuance.
Yes. Okay. So Sarah Palin versus the New York Times. Sarah Palin, who, if you guys can recall, is the fanciest lady in Wasilla. She's a former Alaska governor who John McCain unleashed on America, which is like one of the worst things John McCain did during his life.
I mean, it's probably the worst thing.
Yeah. I think that he really tried to be a loyal statesman and he had some principles, and Sarah Palin was just, ugh. Sarah Palin is suing the New York Times over an op-ed that was published shortly after then Arizona Representative Gabby Giffords was shot by a crazy person in 2011. 6 people died in that shooting. The Times editorial suggested that this graphic, which was a map of the U.S. with crosshairs over districts held by Democrats, they implied in this that this graphic was meant to have the crosshairs aimed at the Democrats themselves, and it wasn't. So they immediately corrected it, but Sarah Palin says that the damage was done, and now she's suing. And basically this lawsuit would weaken libel laws, which is kind of what Donald Trump was threatening to do. So how funny would it be if Sarah Palin is the one that like weakens libel laws? Libel laws that protect the press are really strong. So basically, in order for a media outlet to be sued successfully by a public figure, the public figure must prove that the press outlet meant to disparage them with something false. It's called actual malice.
Yep.
So like an honest mistake, like if somebody thought something and then made a mistake and was like, oh no, I made a mistake, that's like not something you can sue a media outlet for. But you can sue a media outlet if there was like a boardroom meeting and, you know, the executive editor was like, okay, we're going to take Sarah Palin down, blah, 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 blah. That's actual malice. And if there was like a paper trail establishing that they meant to fuck with Sarah Palin's life. And I can say, you know, I worked at Gawker, and we were taken down by a lawsuit, or the company was taken down by a lawsuit over a news story that I had nothing to do with. But the lawyers for the person who sued Gawker, Hulk Hogan, established to the jury that they had actual malice in like publishing some of this stuff. So
I was at Vice at the time, and we watched that very carefully.
Oh yeah, I had resigned from Gawker in like late November 2015, and it was like in spring 2016 that it happened. What a year!
2016. Gift that keeps on giving.
I know, right? So here's the thing, Alyssa, that I wanted to talk about with you.
Yes.
So we've talked about rat fucks on this show before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that if Sarah Palin prevails over the New York Times and libel laws protecting newspapers get tightened so that actual malice doesn't matter if it's just if it's a factual inaccuracy, do you think that means it's the end of the rat fuck?
I don't know. You know, I have like a lot of complicated feelings about this because I do agree with the standard of malice. I also think though that in the world of social media where everyone is just so quickly trying to get the most clicks and retweets and all that kind of stuff, and people are moving too fast, I do think that this case is a good reminder that people should like stop, drop, and roll before they post something or publish something. So I don't know. I definitely do not think Sarah Palin should win, but I do think that the case itself is a good reminder that everyone should be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, nobody really clicks on the correction. That's the thing about me, my theory of the rat fuck when it comes to this. A rat fuck is a Karl Rovian invention where you put out a story that is kind of true, but like worse than the actual true version of events. And then in the ensuing days after like, you know, everyone has had some outcry, the real story comes out, which is a lesser version of the event. So like Alyssa, let's say that you were out driving and you ran over somebody's mailbox because you were looking at your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were going to rat fuck you, I would put a story in your local paper saying that you ran over somebody's dog when you were looking at your phone.
Right.
But the truth is you did run over something while looking at your phone, but it wasn't a dog. It was a mailbox. But by the time everybody realized that it was a mailbox, the damage would be done.
Didn't matter. People thought I was a phone reading dog killer.
Yes, exactly. And
Which,
that's
just for the record, I never text and drive, but just say.
yeah. Oh, I would not expect you to text of all people.
I know. I'm very uptight about it.
So yeah, I think that this lawsuit is interesting. The Supreme Court might actually loosen libel laws. And if that's the case, then, I don't know if it only is going to, I don't know if it's actually going to, in the end, benefit Democrats or Republicans more, because if libel laws are loosened, couldn't you, I feel like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity are going to get the absolute shit suit out of them.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like all you have to do is listen to any clip of Tucker Carlson. I mean, things he says, I could sue him for offending me, for like ruining my life, because he is such a menace to society with the things that he says. But no, I don't know. Honestly, it's like they are the ones who, now here's the truth. They're the lunatics that make more false shit up and engage in, the rat fucking. But Democrats are not really gonna, I don't know. I guess that if we're gonna spend our time doing something, is it really just suing Tucker Carlson, or are we gonna use our, energy for better effect?
Yes, like the child tax credit. Make it a forever thing. Benefit the children. I would look, the lure of Schadenfreude is seductive. I want Tucker Carlson to be sad, but isn't it better to try to make a bunch of people happy?
Yeah, honestly.
Anyway. Oh, quick epilogue to the Palin story. Palin, who has publicly stated she'd only get vaccinated, quote, over my dead body, dined indoors at Upper East Side Celebrity Hangout, Elio's, over the weekend. That's weird. That's not real America. But then she tested positive for COVID-19 on Monday.
What a
fucking
asshole.
Tots and pears.
Breaking news, guys.
What?
Breyer's retiring. You see that?
Whoa.
It just happened while you guys were talking.
Who do you think they're going to put on the court?
Shit, anybody. I don't know. Who will it be? Who will it be?
Nobody
We
cool.
can't ask for Amy Klobuchar. Right?
Look,
she'd be so good.
I think that she would be a great Supreme Court justice.
Can't believe I just thought of an offensive bumper sticker to make Amy Klobuchar. Hot dish on the bench.
Oh my gosh.
Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Oh my
I don't
God.
know. I don't know. Your brilliant brain. I think there's a couple people in the DC circuit court that are super interesting and that would be way more exciting to me than Amy Klobuchar. No offense, Amy Klobuchar. No. Because I would absolutely not want to offend her. If I went back to Minnesota, I would become a pariah. She is beloved. But I think that, it would be funny if it were Merrick Garland.
It would be funny if it were Merrick Garland. Also, can I just say, can we just make the person in their 40s? Please?
Yes, please. We need to, honestly, Juniper. Make Juniper a Supreme Court justice. She's 3 months old.
I will personally knit her a doily collar.
Oh my gosh. Please do that anyway.
I'm going to have to now.
So I'm going to go first with I Feel Petty. This week, there was an anti-vax rally in D.C., and one of the speakers at the rally was Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yep.
Jr. Not, if it were Robert F. Kennedy, I would be like, yes, what a cool ghost. But it's not. It's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he had a bunch of absolutely crazy anti-vax comments, just completely nuts. So the I Feel Petty thing is about Cheryl Hines, his wife. Cheryl Hines plays Larry David's wife on Curb Your Enthusiasm. And she seems like a normal and cool person. But because of her husband's crazy comments, she had to come out and condemn her own husband's anti-vaccine comments. So here's what I feel petty about. Here's what I feel petty about. You're going to think this is going to go in one direction, but it's going to go in another direction. I want more spouses to get messy. I want more spouses to come out and condemn their partner's craziness. I want Shailene Woodley
I was
come
just
out.
gonna say-
Yes.
To come out with like a public statement against her boyfriend Aaron Rodgers. I want like messy. Let's get messy in 2022. I love this. I love that Cheryl Hines came out and was like, this guy's that I'm married to is nuts. I want more of it. That's what I feel petty about. More mess.
But here's my question. So I agree. I saw that. I was like, this is incredible. But then people were like, I thought to myself, look, they have a marriage. Seems fucked up right now. Probably fucked up for a while. But she made her statement and was like, I disagree with everything he said. And then people
She's like,
were,
and then she's like, and also he doesn't do the dishes.
right, and another thing. But I felt like people were really fucking like Cheryl Hines. Like they started attacking her and being like, you didn't go far enough. You should divorce him. And it's like, she said her thing. Like, what's wrong? Stop.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
That's silly. That's nobody's business. But I do enjoy a stern spousal
Yeah,
reprimand.
because it was stern.
Yeah, for
She
sure.
was
Ooh, I'm
mad.
gonna go look that up. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
want,
she
I
was
want
mad.
Aaron Rodgers to get his too.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's a
that
few.
too.
I think that there's a few. Like whenever something kooky happens, I'm like, all right, come on, spouse.
Let's see it.
What is wrong with Aaron Rodgers?
What?
Oh, what's right with Aaron? Well, he lost
So
out
sorry,
of
so sorry.
he lost a gimme game at Lambeau Field as a 1 seed. He's out of the playoffs. No, he said that he had the COVID vaccine. He lied about it, and then he was a real jerk about lying about it, and then he like kept like going
Doubling down.
Yeah, doubling
And
down.
he's been saying like anti-vax conspiracy theory things as well.
Yeah, it's funny because like, he's from California. He's from Chico, California. And he's playing in Green Bay, and the rumor has been that he wants to get out of Green Bay. But like, he is really acting like every fucking shithead that I graduated from high school with in rural Wisconsin. Like, that's the most Wisconsin way he possibly could have acted. So maybe he should stay in Green Bay. It seems
No,
like
but
he
don't
fits
you
right in.
think, let's defend the people of Wisconsin here a little bit. Don't you think people from Wisconsin would have just been like, no, I didn't fucking get my vax because I don't believe in it. He like lied. That's like the cheesiest, grossest thing ever. And it wasn't just lying. He said he was immunized
Yeah, he said he
against the virus. I went down because I've been following this for a while because I think it's so fucking bad. But he was like, I'm immunized against the virus. And they were like, cool, you're vaccinated. He was like, mm-hmm.
He was listening to his good friend Joe Rogan, Dr.
Rogan.
Dr. Fear Factor himself.
Oh my.
Tien, what are you feeling petty about this week?
I'd like to have a petty pay it forward. I would like to be petty on behalf of all educators. My partner is an educator, so I'm just like seeing all the stress of all the teachers and all the bullshit that they have to go through in this time that's making me really sad and frustrated. And I feel petty against all these administrators that are just like not teaching, not being in the classroom, not going to places, canceling their own meetings when it's more than 20 adults in the room, but being like, everybody else show up in these packed rooms with no ventilation and no support and no resources. So I would like to see all those, like, I'm really pissed at all the like college presidents and university chancellors that haven't been in a classroom for I don't even know how long and are sitting at home and being like, everyone else, please go to your classrooms, go get sick, go, we're gonna make you safe by like pulling back all safety measures. It's driving me crazy tangentially because I'm seeing it play out through my partner, and I'm just frustrated on behalf of all educators.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of college presidents, if you just took their salary and split it and use their salary to buy like insurance for all the adjunct professors, I think that would probably be fine. Everybody would probably be fine with that.
I don't, not to be petty, but Tien, that technically wasn't petty.
It was
correct.
It was serious.
I mean, it was correct. It was heavy. It was meaty and substantive.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I mean,
am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no. I have been chastised in the past, Erin Glory Ryan, for not being petty
for
enough.
not being petty enough. Okay.
Oh, well, you know what?
You got something about toenails as an
I'm
I'm just kidding.
Kiran, what are you feeling petty about or serious about this week?
Oh, okay. I know, Tiana, obviously I agree with you. My mom has a preschool, and it's very, very challenging for
Yeah.
people right now. It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard for for the kids. It's very hard for the teachers.
Mhm.
It's crazy. It sucks. I'll be petty. And I'll specifically be petty. We have offlined about this, but I think it's time because, there's certain people on the pod who will throw mistakes in your face. Some of them work at the White House. Now, it's sometimes you log onto the internet and you are following Grace Parra and you see that Grace Parra has homemade preserves. She has jam. She has homemade preserved jam, and it's like a jelly. And it's like, guys, I mean it in my heart when it's like, I haven't looked at another person's post and actually felt jelly. Like, I've been like, how did you get that jam? Grace Parra, how did you get that? And I wanted jam. And I feel kind of petty about that.
That is so funny because Kiran, as I recall, you mentioned this already to me personally.
To you offline. And then I thought, let's bring it to the pod. Let's bring it to the pod, baby.
What happened? I said, I have another tranche of jams to go out from people who had not returned my email asking for their address in quick reply. So guess what? Mama does not go to the post office when the line is long. So everyone's jam who hasn't gotten it yet is packed up, is ready to go, and will be shipping out in probably the next 2 weeks because I have to go to the city for a week and I'm not going to the post office tomorrow. So, but I don't forget anybody, Kiran, but I appreciate you. Tien, who is here, she was among the first to reply to my email asking for her address. So, anyway, it's coming. Way to air your grievances.
I need to send you a new address.
Okay, send me a new address.
Just to be clear, the segment is called I'm Feeling Petty. So
I
feel like I actually did the assignment.
You did do the assignment.
Man.
You did do the assignment, and I appreciate it. And I also appreciate the heads up I got, okay?
Only Alyssa Mastromonaco can make a gift sound like a threat.
Yeah. You will get your jam, Kiran.
Oh, you will. She's like, put it on everything and see if you survive.
Yeah, see if you like it.
Alyssa, let's end I Feel Petty with yours. How are you feeling petty about?
Guys, I looked forward to the reboot of Sex and the City so much. And to be fair, I have that show drops on Thursday, and there's not one Thursday that has passed when I haven't literally made my ramen noodles and sat down to watch it. Ooh. I kind of hate it, but I also love it, and I look forward to it. However, one of the things I'm so glad about is that Miranda is living her truth, and I feel really sad for Steve. We can talk about why Steve's only trait is that he's deaf on the show. It feels like that Steve has gone through a lot on this show over the past 20 years, and that he deserved a little bit more of a presence. But I'm glad Miranda's living her truth. Steve was so nice about it. But let's talk about Che Diaz. Possibly one of the worst characters on television ever. Che is like a comedian who's not funny, a partner to Miranda who's not nice. Also, let's just say, as ladies on a podcast, their podcast isn't funny. So I just don't understand the Che character. And I think I don't understand their role. I don't get it. It makes my skin itch, like when you put a turtleneck on backwards and the tag irritates you while you record your podcast. That's how I feel.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate. I think I agree that Che is a little bit much, but I love Che's scenes. When Che is on, I'm like, all right, what dumb bullshit's gonna happen now?
I agree with that. But I just feel like Miranda deserves someone nicer, because I know that the reason I'm feeling petty is because I'm anticipating the drop on Thursday, because I feel like when Miranda appears to have a box of cookies in hand and she's bringing them to Che, and Che's like, we're not dating. And I feel it in my heart already.
I agree with Alyssa. Che makes me so physically uncomfortable. And I read an article about Che Diaz that I thought was a perfect takedown. It feels like Che was written by like a right wing. like they are some caricature of like a progressive non-binary person. Like now when I hear woke moment and trigger warning off of like a DJ noise pad button, like it sends my body, I want to run away. Like it makes me want to curl up and just turn the TV off, and like it's ruined those phrases for me, which is not good.
Devil's advocate here. Mm-hmm. What if because we know a few of the writers on the show. Mm-hmm. They're very, very, very funny.
Very funny.
Yes, very funny.
I feel as though the podcast is deliberately bad. That's like my working theory, because hearing you describe it to me, like I'm imagining you pitching it in a writer's room and being like, that's fucking hilarious. Like
that's totally fair.
That's true. Totally true.
They have a bad podcast where like there's a button that instead of a toilet flushing says woke moment, like I feel like it's on purpose.
Okay, I agree with you. And I think, but here's where I think the nuance is. That's not what Sex and the City had been previously. Okay, right?
Sure.
So I'm not saying they have to stick to what it was, but I think that's why it took you to explain that to me for a minute for me to be like, okay, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that. I'm good with that. That's acceptable. Che still? Nah.
I'm going to go a step further and say I don't blame the actor. I do blame the writers. I think she's, I think the actor is doing a good job. Like the actor is selling whatever the actor is supposed to be selling.
Oh yeah, no, Sarah Ramirez is great. It's Kiran. Don't try to make it sound like I'm attacking Sarah Ramirez.
No,
I am merely.
You said Che.
I said Che.
I just wanted to delineate that.
Thank you.
I do blame the writers. But listen, it doesn't matter how good everyone in the room is. They're responsible to whoever's running the show.
Yeah.
So it's like it's actually the taste of whoever is at the top of the pyramid scheme that is, that particular show's hierarchy. So that is, that's who everyone's doing the layup to and towards and for. And
so you blame HBO.
Forgive them. I will never forgive them. No, I will never forgive that individual. I don't know who it is. Maybe it's Michael Patrick King. Maybe it isn't. Some people, it's like they give you gifts and then they taketh away. And
I gotta say,
is one of those taketh away moments.
I love Seema though. I think that she's a great character.
Oh my God, incredible.
Seema's a great character.
Seema's great.
LTW
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they did the thing with the sorry. Did you see that?
I did.
And it's like, come on, guys, what are we doing here?
It wasn't a sorry, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're like using lengas as saris, and it's like this is very basic. And then you think, okay, why didn't the South Asian person say anything about that? And it's like, well, because they're working, they're on a set and they're working, so they didn't. I can understand why any of those performers didn't say anything, and Anyway, look, guys, this is why I like to stay under my table and just stare at my wall. It's very safe, predictable, it's certain. When I get my jam, oh my God.
You're never leaving the house.
You just eat it with your hands. Like, just scoop it.
Like Pooh Bear.
Yeah, like
sort of.
Like Winnie the Pooh. I'm in yellow.
I love that.